Shalom and welcome to Ohale Avotenu. This week's Torah portion is Toldot, Parshat Toldot, and there are a lot of themes here. We have Yaakov, we have Esav, we have the birthright, the blessing, we have dressing up in goat hair, and all sorts of interesting things going on here. But the theme that I would like to discuss today is love. Specifically, why it says that Rivka loved Yaakov, but Yitzchak loved Esav. What does it imply? Does it imply that, Yaakov was simply unloved by his father? Does it imply that somehow there was this break in relationship, or is it hinting at something deeper? Well, as we move forward to the Haftarah portion in Malachi, we read an interesting passage which says, Jacob have I loved, but Esav I have hated. So what does this mean? Some rabbinic commentaries and some Christian commentaries have suggested that this word for hatred could actually be translated as loved less. And it does seem to be used in this form idiomatically, at least in some instances. But what's interesting to me is how this speaks to a question that I've heard a number of my Orthodox friends raise about the nature of the Messiah. In particular, this fellow Yeshua of Nazareth, who showed up 2,000 years ago purporting to be the Messiah. Because the Torah says we're supposed to honor our father and mother. The Torah says we're supposed to love our neighbors. And yet, what did Yeshua say? He said, I have not come to bring peace but a sword, right? And he talks about hating father or mother. And if you don't hate father or mother when you come to him, then you're not worthy of him. So how can he be the Messiah if he's contradicting, Moshe? And, okay, fair question. But I don't think that it does justice to the implications of what Messiah was saying. Yeshua, if he is a legitimate teacher, if he's a legitimate Mashiach, he has to confirm the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. And he cannot transgress those things, because if he violates even the smallest of the matters, then he would be a false prophet. So how do we reconcile these matters? Fair enough. Good question. To my mind, the thing that most makes sense when he's talking about not regarding father or mother when it comes to approaching God, when it comes to following the ways of righteousness, and instead rather bringing a sword, it reminds me specifically of how the priests, the Levites, acquired the priesthood, right? When the children of Israel were engaging in idolatrous activities, when they were not following after the Most High, when they were turning away from the instructions which Moshe had given them, Moshe, he comes down the mountain and he asks whoever is on the Lord's side, the side of Hashem, the Most High. And all of the tribe of Levi, they went over to his side and joined him, and he told them to strap on their swords and go through the tents of Israel and to take out the people that had been engaged in rebellion against the Most High. And we see Moshe's final commentary on this in Deuteronomy chapter 33, Devarim. We read about how they got the priesthood in that they did not regard father or mother or recognize brother or what have you, and I am paraphrasing. But fundamentally, what we come down to is they received the priesthood because they regarded the commands of the Most High and the ways of Hashem to be of greater value, greater merit than their own familial relationships. Not that they were happy to go around killing their father and mother, not that they thought, oh, great, I've been waiting to do this for so long, but that their love for Hashem, for the Most High, was greater, and that their connection to Him was more important than connection to father or mother or brother. And they brought a sword. So if you're trying to find a way to drive a wedge between the approach of Moshe and Yeshua, I would suggest that you'll have to find something else. Because Yeshua specifically talks about bringing a sword, and specifically talks about making a delineation, it seems to me, between following him in a worthy manner, which means not regarding your father or your mother. And if you take the rabbinic commentary of hate to mean to love less, then this falls perfectly in line, not only with the teaching of Moshe Rabbeinu, but the historical precedent that we must regard God, we must regard the commandments of the Most High as more important even than our familial relationships. Obviously, if there is no direct conflict between the commandments of God and those familial relationships, great. That's a win-win scenario all the way around. And if not, however, if the choice is between the traditions of our fathers, be they rabbinic, be they Jewish, be they Christian, be they Messianic, be they pagan, whatever, we are called, each and every one of us, to follow him first and foremost. So there is no difference between what Messiah was speaking and what Moshe was speaking. There's no difference between what the Levites did to step into their priesthood and what the believers of Messiah are called to do to step into their priesthood. We are called to be a kingdom of kings and priests. Yeah, it's interesting translation. Anyway, priests and kings. This is who we are to be as a people. And in order to be his priests, we have to love him more, and we have to love other things less, right? And this is baked into the Shema, right? We're supposed to love him first and foremost. We're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, sure, but him before anything. Him before our neighbor, him before ourselves. It is him we love with all of our heart, soul, mind, strength. With all of our meodecha, with your with your exceeding amount. I often think about this as like a Star Wars fanboy, when you're just completely over the moon about this thing, this one that you're totally in love with. And it's that love that we give to him. And every other love has to be subordinate to that. So I don't believe that Yitzchak simply did not love Yaakov. I don't believe that God is just sitting there up in the heavens saying, you know what, I am going to predestine people with this one I'm going to love, this one I'm going to hate, and you're just going to be out of luck. What I believe he's talking about is that connection, that resonance. How can two walk together unless they are agreed? So if you're in a place where you're in line with the Torah, where you're in line with the things of the Most High, or are you in line with the things of the world? Are you in line with the things of an earthly father more? When we're presented both with Moshe's question, who is on Hashem's side? It's the same question we get from the Messiah. If you try to follow me and you love your father or your mother more, you are not worthy. In my opinion, this is a complete and total agreement between Moshe Rabbeinu and Yeshua HaMashiach. And that's all I have for today. Shabbat Shalom.